Okay. Today we're going to be doing the unit plan review, and it's not too big a deal. It's a lot of work, but it's not hard work. In this video, we're going to look at how to review, why I should give a RIP, and rubric review. So first, when you're looking at it, are all of the parts of the unit plan there? Did they skip over anything? Did they fill in text in some area but not all that they needed to do? Make sure everything's there. Use a blank template to make sure you filled in all the spots. Second, does the unit plan make sense? So if all the pieces are there and everything's filled in, does it flow together in a cohesive way? If something's missing, what's missing? What does your colleague need to do? Don't just say, hey, this is missing. Try and provide them feedback with what would improve the clarity of their rubric or their unit plan. And as always, look for grammar and spelling. So how to review. When you look at the specific objective, so student will be able to demonstrate comprehension of the design of car batteries by building a model car at 100% accuracy. First question, does the activity demonstrate Bloom's level of content? So here I'm saying that they're supposed to be demonstrating comprehension of design of car batteries. Does the activity show that? Is building a model of a car at 100% accuracy going to show comprehension? Well, it shows comprehension of something, but not of battery design. It shows, parts of a car maybe. So what suggestions do you have for revising the objective to make it more sense? How would you revise this objective so that the activity and the content are more closely related? The students need to know how to replace spark plugs in order to pass the full engine rebuild exam. So this is talking about the whys and the wherefores. Does this provide a student-centered rationale for learning the content? Yes. Are there ways to make it more intriguing for the students? Now, obviously, in this case, no. This does not. This is a teacher-centered content. So what are some student-centered reasons for why they need to learn the content? And obviously, you want to know how to change your spark plug so you can save yourself $50 every time you need it done. Now, when we're looking at the activities, we might say, first student will locate the torque wrench and then put the spark plug back in with the appropriate tension. Well, does the activity make sense? In this case, no, not a whole bunch, because first they're doing the torque wrench and then they're putting the spark plugs back in. Did we ever take the spark plugs out? Where did we set the tension on the torque wrench? Do the activities show progression of learning? So in this case, there's only one activity, and it kind of seems to jump from the beginning to the end. And finally, do the activities lead to a specific objective? Remember, our specific objective 2 slides ago was about a car battery. So this lesson is all over the board. So we need to make sure that each day is cohesive and put together and makes sense. And finally, when we're looking at materials, are there any materials that seem to be missing? Are there any extra materials, or are there any things in excess? So you don't really need to have X, Y, or Z. And finally, are there any materials that can be replaced with something more apt? So maybe they're using crayons, but colored pencils would be more appropriate. Or maybe they're using colored pencils, but a Google SketchUp activity would be more appropriate. And finally, why should you give a RIP? You want a good unit plan. Fresh eyes can help you develop the best unit plan possible. So having somebody look at it, if somebody says, hey, this doesn't make any sense, don't explain it to them. Ask them what they mean. Try and figure out why it doesn't make sense, okay? You'll be reviewing student work when you're a teacher. You're going to be looking through things and evaluating. This is good practice for that. Don't just fluff it off because it's an in-class activity. Take this as experience in grading homework. Next semester, if you have me in literacy in the content areas, peer review is a rather good content area literacy strategy. We'll be probably doing a lot of peer review in that class. You're all in this together. by giving your students good feedback and respecting them, they'll do the same for you, and you'll get a better overall project. So the more you invest in this activity, like with everything, the more you're going to get back on it. Now, the rubric review. Remember, the rubric goes from lowest to highest for each of the categories. So the first column is the lowest, and then the last column is the highest. We want to focus on the highest column. We don't, at this point, ignore points for 1 and points for 2. We want to focus on 3 points. Here's why. If they don't meet 3 points for each category, so under description, at least 3 major goals described under the purpose, topic, and 2 to 3 sentences included in the description, both academic and pedagogical content language is listed. If they don't hit that, don't tell them where they do hit. Tell them what they need to do to get there. Say, hey, if you explain this a little bit better, you'd have 3 points. Includes information from both school and district community flow files, so you're talking about your imaginary school district, and so on and so forth. You want to make sure that you are helping your peers as much as possible. Again, when using the rubric, focus on the top points. What can your partner do in order to reach the top level of the rubric? Don't be passive. If you just look at it and check off some things, you're not going to do a good job, and you're not going to highlight parts of the rubric that you might need to better understand. Make sure you review each of the points of the rubric. Don't skip anything. That doesn't help anybody. Applying the rubric to your partner's work will help improve your understanding of the rubric and can improve your own work. So you might realize that you made mistakes by grading your partner's work. Does this make sense to you? So when you grade your partner's work and see something that they did, you might realize that you did it differently and that you might be losing points. Alright, that's it for this video. Sorry that the audio quality might not be too great. Look forward to seeing you on Monday.